as a rule of thumb with bodybuilding, like Michaela was saying, or sculpting or fitness or whatever it is, that stuff they do, you're going to take lesser rest periods and move, because the name of the game isn't moving as much weight as possible. It's building muscle, losing fat, that type of stuff. So breaking a sweat and moving fast is a good thing for that. But for strength training, you can come into the frame if you want. For strength training, you want to take enough rest for your heart rate to come down, but you don't want to take so much rest that you cool off. Yeah. So that film of sweat that you start to have once you warm up and you keep throughout your workout, you don't want that to get cold where you're not sweaty anymore, because then you can end up getting tight and end up pulling something. And also you become a little bit relaxed too. So you don't want that. You want your body temperature up, your blood pressure up. That's why it's important to do a good full body workout. But you mentioned earlier, kind of joking, and but this is something that needs to be hit on. You don't want to warm up so much that you're fatigued before you go, because that isn't the purpose of doing it. Now, the warm-up we did was kind of cumbersome because we're going through so many different things to figure out what's good for her. But with that said, a warm-up should be to prepare you for the load that's to come. It's not to punish you. It's not a boot camp. It's just to stimulate, warm up, and then you move on from there. But going back to how much rest you should have between sets. For strength training, for me, typically when I'm prepping for a competition or going heavier, above 900 or 1,000 pounds, I usually take the same amount of time that the meet that I'm doing is going to have in between lifts. So if I know someone is having a very big meet, there might be 15 people in each flight, we count about a minute and a half between lifters. So that's going to be, 22 minutes or however much it is. So we time it out for those heavier sets. We'll wait 15, 20 minutes sometimes. But if it's a smaller meet, we know it's going to be about 12 minutes. So I'll do my lifts 12 minutes apart. But for the warm-ups, it might be 2 or 3 or 4 minutes apart. So for her, we just want to ensure that she has 2 to 3 minutes at the very minimum before she goes up, because this isn't an endurance race. It's about lifting the most weight as possible. And then if you want to break a sweat, you want to get a pump, you do your assistance work and you can still maintain your physique, but you're kind of going slower on the main movements, on the squat, the bench, the deadlift, and then you can get all your other fluff and buff, as I call it, or stimulation work in, and you can just blow through it and do supersets and stuff.
Fluff and buff, I like that.
Yeah, that's what I call it in my book, 1020 Life, fluff and buff. So let's get your mind right, let's get under this bar, and let's nail it like we did last time. So I want to reiterate this to you also. You're going to squat deep enough. Don't be thinking you're not going low enough. I'm going to call you up. So whenever you're going down, I'll just tell you up and you just come up right away. But when I call you up, I want you to hammer it. I want you to boom all the way through, just like you did the last one, okay? All right, come on. Doing good. Nice and stiff. Get even more stiff and rigid now. Come on. Good. 1, 2, suck in your air. Good. Up. Good. Back in. Very nice. Very nice. Doing good. Don't count the weight. Just
I felt a little less, obviously the weight went up, but a little less upright. Did I lean over too much in that one?
I was spotting you and looking at your hips from the side there, so it's hard for me to say, but you may have leaned over, but I was watching the bar and I didn't notice it pitching forward. Okay. But this time I'll stay on the side and watch, but you're going to start having little slip ups in your technique. The key is not doing them on your warm-up sets every time. Now, when you squat 250, when you squat 250, you might get a little bit loose in your form. Yeah. But that's the time you do it. You don't, God forbid, you don't want to do your form, you don't want to have your form bad on all your sets working up, because not only is it potential for injury, but you create engrams, default motor patterns that once you practice them for a while, they stay good or bad. You see people do AMRAP sets on the bench press and they're just pressing all over the place and falling all over, or they're deadlifting like this and it's like,
fluff and buff right there.
Yeah, so when they go to pull a heavy single, they don't know how to pull because they just go into survival mode every time. So for a heavy single, you do go into survival mode, I get that, but you don't want to stay there all the time. You want to engram good movement. That's why we started with just the bar. It makes sense a little bit more because you're not changing things. You're still locked in, but you're just being more and more intense, more and more purposeful with everything that you do. Okay? Thank you so much for watching today. Please subscribe, like, and share if you enjoyed this video, and have a wonderful day.